Aviation specialist Phil Durdey. Phil, just looking at the images and what we know so far, walk us through the situation that's happening at Pearson Airport.
Well, good afternoon. Yeah, there's pretty sketchy right now on what exactly happened. It's a CRJ 900 operated by Delta Connect. It is upside down on the runway. From what I've heard, the wings are missing, but people are getting out of the aircraft.
So, Phil, of course, I don't want to get too far ahead and speculate about what might have happened, but with the weather conditions and the plane itself, kind of walk us through some potential scenarios here.
Well, the winds are really gusting out there right now. I was just outside shoveling snow, actually, and the winds are blowing quite a gale. I was just going on to see what the actual wind conditions were, but at this point in time, we're not exactly sure.
Yeah, of course, we can speculate about weather conditions, but of course, pilots and these planes are well equipped for a flight that is coming from Toronto, from Minneapolis to Toronto. Of course, both of those destinations quite familiar with conditions like this.
Yeah, well, the pilots are really well trained in North America, so we'll have to wait and see exactly what happened. But like I said, the weather could be a factor.
So in a situation like this, just want to get your thoughts on the airport reaction here. From what I understand, flights are on hold. Can you confirm that? Do you know that for sure?
They're probably, they're going to have aircraft holding all over the place. I'll have a better idea when I can get onto the net and take a look at the traffic patterns.
Mm-hmm. Of course, over the past couple of weeks, when we look south of the border, there have been several aviation incidents. But of course, once again, not trying to speculate too much, but we see these images recently, several incidents. Just overall, something like this is quite rare when it comes to takeoff and landing, particularly.
Well, I mean, it's the most hazardous part of the flight, right? Mm-hmm. When you're slow and close to the ground. So. But the pilots are very well trained in the simulator, doing, reduced visibility landings, practicing crosswind landings. So, like I said, we just have to wait and see what the black boxes say and the interviews with the pilot.
So, Phil, this is a live shot that we have, but we also have a still image, which I believe shows the plane a little, closer. And there you can see it is upside down. We see the wheels there pointing upwards. I just want to get your reaction looking at this, how something like this might have happened, and just your reaction to seeing a photo like this where the plane on the runway, near the runway, is totally upside down.
Right, but one of the things is you can see in the foreground there's that windsock, and the windsock is showing that the winds are blowing about 20 to 30, 25 knots, and it's a crosswind landing because it looks like they were landing on 06 right or left, one of the two. Mm-hmm. But there is a pretty strong crosswind.
And Phil, yeah, we're hearing that passengers are being told they're shutting down all arrivals and departures. Likely wind playing a factor, as you mentioned, as we were showing at that photo with that windsock.
That's right. So it's like I said, it's gusting about 25 knots. I'm just trying to figure out exactly how bad it is.
Mm-hmm. We don't have anything specific about injuries at this time, but looking at that crash photo, the close-up of the plane. It looks like this is something where there could be some significant injuries. First of all, before I get your reaction, let me just read this quick statement we have available from Toronto Pearson Airport. And it says, Toronto Pearson is aware of an incident upon landing involving a Delta Airlines plane arriving from Minneapolis. Emergency teams are responding. All passengers and crew are accounted for. Let me get your thoughts there on that last sentence right there, where we're seeing the image of this plane upside down, but then we hear from Pearson Airport saying all passengers and crew are accounted for.
Well, and they found they must have got everybody off the aircraft. There were probably some injuries, but we're not sure. Just checking with the wind right now, the winds are from the west at 20 gusting 32 knots. So that was a pretty good breeze.
When it comes to takeoff and landing, you talk about the wind gust. How significant does it take for takeoffs and landings to be delayed, to be put on hold when we are talking about winds?
Well, the winds the winds aren't the big part. It's the runway conditions, which are if there's a lot of ice or snow on the runway, that can cause some significant problems.
Once again, we're looking at this photo of this plane, and just to recap, this is a plane that was coming in from Minneapolis. It is a Delta Airlines plane that had an incident upon landing, according to Toronto Pearson Airport, and police have confirmed that it is a small commuter plane, and we're hearing that as well from Pearson, that this was a Delta Airlines flight from Minneapolis to Toronto, and as we see in that photo, the plane is upside down on the runway. And now, because of this incident and the weather conditions, the no planes are taking off right now. Of course, Toronto Pearson, the busiest airport in Canada. And once again, just to recap, here's the statement from Toronto Pearson saying Pearson is aware of an incident upon landing involving a Delta Airlines plane arriving from Minneapolis. Emergency teams are responding. All passengers and crew are accounted for. Yeah, sorry, Phil. Let me just ask you another question here. When we see the emergency crews responding to this incident, talk about the emergency crews that are available at the airport already to respond to incidents like this.
The emergency response crews at Pearson are second to none. They've got a wide variety of equipment out there. They will have scrambled to get to the aircraft as fast as possible and make sure there's no fire. But they should be there within 90 seconds to a minute, so it's pretty good. Looking at the radar right now, a lot of the aircraft that were bound for Toronto are now diverting. They're going up to Ottawa and to Montreal. So it's going to be kind of busy at those two airports right now. So I guess they've got a ground stop at Pearson.
Okay. CTV's aviation specialist, Phil Durdey. Hey, greatly appreciate your time on joining us. Just to recap once again, the incident that we're looking at, this is Pearson International Airport, confirming that a small commuter plane is down. And reports suggest that that plane was a Delta Airlines flight from Minneapolis. There was an incident upon landing in Toronto, according to the airport. And as we've seen from that one photo that we have, as this is a live shot of the incident, but we saw that one photo, the plane is upside down on the runway. No planes are currently taking off at the moment. And once again, I'll read this statement from from Pearson Airport, posting a short time ago on social media. It reads, Toronto Pearson is aware of an incident upon landing involving a Delta Airlines plane arriving from Minneapolis. Emergency teams are responding. All passengers and crew are accounted for. We'll continue to follow this breaking news incident. And as we get more information into our newsroom, we'll bring it to you live right here on CTV News Channel. Stay with us. We'll have much more news coming up after a short break.